Hey there, and welcome to the next episode in the Wilds Are Working series. My name is Ellen Mattis, and I'm the owner of Hello Social, and I'm a PA Wilds ambassador. Today, I'm talking on behalf of the PA Wilds Center, interviewing David Leidholdt of the Millbrook Playhouse in Mill Hall. So, David is going to share how their organization has pivoted in the last few months, many months, in what is pretty much an uncharted time for businesses and organizations. So, welcome, David.
Hi, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad we made it happen.
Yeah. So just to get started, tell us about what the Millbrook Playhouse is and a little bit of its history too.
Great. Well, Millbrook Playhouse is what we consider called summer stock theater. It kind of harkens back to the days of like the 60s and the 70s, even earlier when actors would travel around and do stock. So it's kind of the old Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney, somebody had a barn, let's put on a show. So it started in 1963, and it was an old dairy farm, which kind of sat empty for a little while. And Dan Reinhold, who owned the house across the street, got some people together. They did a couple like artist shows and play readings, and then they started slowly but surely turning it into a full-fledged theater. They hired people from out of town and all that. So 1963 was the first season, and we have been producing, not me specifically, but the company has been producing for, this would have been, it's sad, this would have been our 57th full season. There was
Wow.
one year in the early 90s, they went dark because of financial reasons, but they recouped and went, and this would have been ongoing. This is the only second summer we're not doing a full summer season, although we do have some plans still in the works, hopefully. But yeah, so that's its history. It's been going and it's cultivated and changed and grown, and the area's grown, but we're still kind of in that traditional theater model. We hire most of our staff from all over the country. We bring in actors from New York, Philadelphia, lots of college kids that come in. And then we also, local people, local kids. There's a lot of people that have started their careers that have moved on to New York, have done professional work in the area. So yeah, and this is my seventh season as artistic director. So I'm going into my seventh year, and I've kind of moved up here full time. So I work a little bit at the Lock Haven University, helping there. So I'm totally involved.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So why do you think that a playhouse like this is important to the Mill Hall community? And why is it a good fit for the PA Wilds region?
Well, I it's my, arts and performing arts specifically have been my whole background, my whole life. I discovered it in my high school days and literally couldn't personally think of anything else that I'd rather do. I think I moved to New York in the early 90s. I lived there for 25 years. I actually worked at Millbrook Playhouse kind of in the early 2000s as a freelancer in New York. And, the regional theaters, we consider this a regional summer stock theater, and they're important just to kind of introduce the arts, and it's important. There's the entertainment value, there's the economic impact. Theaters regularly, outside of ticket prices alone, theaters have an impact on every person spends $33 on top of every ticket price on average in the community, and that plays out in restaurants and shopping and all that side of stuff. So there's a great economic impact for theaters, I think, so that's important. The arts in general, they're great ways to talk to social issues. There's great ways to entertain, bring people together, build community. And then I always say, coming in from the outside, so to speak, 7 years ago, I was like, after so many years in New York City and elsewhere, it's like, this is a remarkable thing to have in the PA Wilds. It's not kind of your typical thing. There's a lot of canoeing and hunting and ATV and all that stuff. So to have a live professional theater that's almost 60 years old is truly a remarkable thing, because it's a very challenging business model, the theater. So it takes a lot of money to run it. There's a little money you spend on it. To have that still happen and have that in the community, I think it's great. I think we have every year, we have a senior couple that come in, and they've been here since year one. They've been coming for 58 years of seeing live theater, and that doesn't happen everywhere. So especially in smaller rural towns. So that's kind of a lot of reasons, and then I love it because I love what we do here. I think the shows are great. the people come in, the local community, then the outside community. It's kind of one of the most unique things up here is that it's like we bring in this contingency of young professionals, mostly a lot of people starting their career. Several people that have worked here through my years have made it onto Broadway and television. So it's a great launching point. And then also it's like we said, we have a lot of youth programs and stuff like that. And we just enjoy bringing those people the live theater experience.
Yeah, for sure. I had never heard those stats before on the economic impact of.
Yeah, there's an arts and economic impact study that they do every year. Now, obviously, like the $33 is always based on, that's the general, that they do a national survey. But because we're not in a downtown area, we don't have that kind of foot traffic. But like generally, if people get to the theater early, they always do dinner. They pay babysitters. A lot of bigger cities
Right.
parking, so it really trickles down. It keeps cities thriving. It adds a different value to your local economy and aesthetic and your local feel.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
super interesting. So obviously, mid-March, late March, you would have had to shut down the Playhouse. Tell me a little bit about what happened within the Playhouse amid shutdown and kind of what's happening now, many months later.
Well, it was interesting. I was in New York City the beginning of March. So like I said, we hire from all over. So we go into New York City and Philadelphia plus local area and audition for the season. So it's a big thing. I go down for a week. We, see 200 to 400 people audition. I got there and like 2 days later they were shutting, everybody started talking about it and started building. And it's like, is this going to happen? Is this for real? And I was walking around, I had coffee with a friend and I said, well, if they shut down Broadway, maybe we're going to have to cancel auditions. And that day, that coffee, they're shutting down Broadway. And that's huge. Again, that's New York City. That is, one of the biggest economic drivers there as well. So I kind of like sped through, canceled auditions, headed back upstate here up to Pennsylvania, and just kind of was like, okay, so what are we going to do? Reached out, and then just slowly but surely it became aware as we went along. Every theater, every kind of larger organization started postponing. I have several friends who are artistic directors. Seth Sponhouse, who runs the community theater in Williamsport, and I chatted. I have a friend who runs a similar theater upstate New York, and we just, what are you doing? What are you doing? And like a lot of like online, a lot of communication, and with the board, we sat down. I've made like maybe 4 versions of the season. Like if we open later, if we cut the shows in half, if we do that, and then finally our business manager David Gritzner, he just like, I think we just move it. We pick it up, we move it into 21, and we cancel this season. And that made the most sense to kind of do. So it became pretty much, there was no way to do it the way we normally do it.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, are at this point then, since things are loosening up a little bit, are you offering any programs, or are you still trying to figure those things out?
I am, we are going to offer some programs. So the first, when we first announced it, we were like, still, again, a little more optimistic that we'd be like, okay, we're going to be out of this. And we're still optimistic. Every day is a different day. The numbers keep changing. We're either in the second wave or the first wave hasn't, luckily we've been doing a good job here in Pennsylvania and a good job locally. So, and so we think we're going to be able to start offering some things. So as of right now, we're going to announce this week that we're going to offer some of our theater camps. So we have always done our theater education program. And I've talked to a lot of our board members, our parents, and I've asked them, I'm like, how do you feel about kids going into camps? How do you do that? And they're all like, get them out, get them out, get them out of my hair. Because if we could do virtually, but like who wants, after 3 months of sitting on a computer, nobody in the middle of summer wants to like take online acting classes.
Sure.
So we are hopefully offering what we're calling our kids, juniors, and teens. We're going to do 3 different camps for like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and then 9th through graduation. And they'll be just smaller groups. We're going to maintain those as smaller groups, 10 to 15 students. 1 to 2 teachers. Usually we're combating here. Usually we have 2 shows running simultaneously, plus our theater camps, plus, everything else. It's just been me. So we're a lot easier. It's a lot easier to social distance the groups, keep kids separated. And then we're hopefully still one of the programs that was going to be a 1 weekend program called Grand Legends, which was one of our stars from one of our shows last year was a 1-person show. We're going to expand that a little. We're going to offer that the last 2 weekends in August. With all the changes and requirements within the social distancing. We need a social media distance, but we can go out of that another time. But with the social distancing and all that, so we're still doing it. I'm afraid to. There's still that trepidation of like pulling the plug and announcing that because theater is such an intimate thing. You are sitting in a small dark room close to people, and there's people singing. I think we absolutely need it. I think people want stuff to do. I think they want to be entertained and they want to be around people. We just want to be safe. So safety is the utmost concern. But I think we're going to tiptoe in. We're going to offer those camps late July. We're going to look at late August doing that. Then if that goes well, then we'll be able to maybe start doing some more stuff in the fall and Christmas time.
Sure. Now, obviously, you mentioned the social distancing for the camps, but if you decide that you are able to open for shows and things, what other approaches do you think that you'll take to protect one your employees, but also visitors to the Playhouse?
Yeah, I mean, there is a list, and the economic partnership here, and we're on different, Williamsport and different communities have been sending lots of emails, and there's restaurant stuff, and there's also some guides through theater resources that talk about what to do, and some are very rigid and some are a little looser, but obviously keeping people grouped into seating, that's the trial and error because we sell seats in advance and people go online or they call up and they're like, our patrons have been coming here forever and they're like, I want the south side with this seat. So what we're going to do is we're going to sell the tickets as general admission, and then once we sell X amount of seats, so we can put 50% in here, so we seat 230-ish, so we can sell like 120. We're going to keep it even less, then we're going to find the groups, and then we're going to like set up the groups and like make sure they're 6 feet apart. So that's one step. So we're going to control the seating of it. Then we'll be able to keep people separated downstairs. We'll obviously have all the hand sanitizer and all the face mask requirements and all that. The actors will have to be 6 feet away from the front row. So I'm going to kind of tape out and paint, a detail on the floor. Our theater is interesting because most theaters are what they call proscenium. So much like a frame, you're looking here. We're in a thrust, which means the audience is seating on 3 sides, which is great, which I love because they're more intimate, but now they're closer. So now we're like, all right, so we're going to measure from that person's knees 6 feet. So the show will be much more simple. It's only going to be 2 to 3 people. It's only going to be singing and stuff. So there's not going to be that concern with trying to get people too close. So we're going to tiptoe into this. That's kind of those restrictions. And with the bar and with all that, like obviously we'll have to take precautions there and face masks and stuff like that. People are somewhat back to normal. Like I go to my favorite coffee shop, the Avenue 209. And if you're in Lock Haven, you have to go to the Avenue 209. It's my favorite coffee shop. I love those people. I've been going there in a little bit and working, and people are respectful there. You go to the larger grocery stores, some people aren't taking all the precautions. So I think we'll be able to find a really comfortable way with keeping people safe and clean, keeping the place clean, and also being able to enjoy yourself. Nobody wants to walk in and be like, oh my God, I can't touch this and stay in line. We don't want to be too regimented with that.
Sure. All right. Well, to wrap up here, is there any advice that's helped you along the way or inspiration personally or professionally that has helped you get through this?
Well, it's the community's been great. I have to say that, we have artists, like I said, from all over the country that come in here. And because of social media, because of that, we've all been kind of in it together because unfortunately, like they had the list of the most essential and the least essential, and actors are like they say the least essential, but I say, where would Netflix, without actors and writers, where would Netflix be? Where were any of your things that helped you get through this pandemic? Are a lot of them are driven, entertainment is driven by the arts. So the artists have been really, there's been an outreach, with kind of some of the turmoils that are going on in the country. Like everybody seems to, artists are sensitive beings, so they always come together and support. And that has been great. So if you go on our social media, I run the social media. I put a lot of flashbacks. I've been paying honor to all the shows and the patrons. So that's been really heartening and helpful. And then just, the board of directors is all community members. The kids, our youth ensemble kids have been, we did an online show called The Show Must Go Online. And our youth ensemble has been, young people can inspire you to do great things because they throw their heart into it. So for me personally, the youth ensemble and the local actors, and like I have to say, the partnership has been very helpful. We redid our website in the middle of this, and Cross Life Ventures, who I think may be a member of PA Wild's, Chris and Kate Miller, own their own company, and they redesigned our entire website during this whole thing. So I want to say those kind of people are inspiring and also helpful to us. So give a shout out if you're listening. Cross Life Ventures, Chris and Andrew, and it's their anniversary, so send them a hi.
Nice. All right. Well, if you are watching this and you'd like more information on how to support small businesses in the PA Wilds, make sure to visit wildscopa.org. There you're going to find all of the interviews that we've had so far in this series. And also, there's an opportunity to apply to appear on the series. Those applications are still being accepted. So make sure to check that out. And David, thank you so much for your time.
For having us. I'm so glad we finally got to talk, and we love being part of this community. And check us out, and we wish you guys all the luck.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's talk later.
All right, thank you.